As you know, the mainstream media is news to pit people against each other. How the banksters are stealing you blind. China, it basically is taking over. Granny was a prepper. Wyoming's a sovereign citizen.
The Mark David Show. Killing the mainstream media.
Welcome back to the Mark David Show, where the truth is a conspiracy. We're going to start the second segment right away with some New World Order news here on the Mark David Show.
A monolithic and ruthless conspiracy.
A new world order.
A new world order.
New world order.
Military-industrial complex.
Okay, I want to talk about, I'm just going to start this segment off with a title, Hitler Youth Cometh. That's right, they're coming. And let me explain what I mean by that. I'm not saying a conspiracy to create a Hitler Youth. I'm saying America's too far beyond the ability to conspire. We're pretty much at the point now where we're just kind of stumbling along into our own incompetence, falling down into our own feces and rolling around in it. We are the 5% of the world, the pigs of the world. Obviously, the majority of our population doesn't want to be that, but that's what we are. And before you turn the knob and say, I'm not going to listen to that, blah, 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 I think you're going to want to hear this next part. Because I think hopefully this will help you avoid a turd to fall on here, for lack of a better analogy. Okay, Hitler Youth coming. This is from police1.com. And these articles are going to get a little scary for you, just so you know. Police1.com is a website devoted for the news of police, for police. Okay, LAPD to patrol schools. This is from January 8th. Officials from more than a dozen law enforcement agencies were finalizing plans Friday for how to deploy patrol officers into schools. Okay? This is an important thing to understand about this. These are not your typical everyday out on the street officers. These are mostly police administrators. And that's going to be important as this story goes on. Okay, moving on to the next story. This is from January 11th. Obama administration ponders police in schools. A $50 million plan would fund hundreds of officers in public schools to reduce gun violence. Okay, that's also from Police One. Now, here's what I'm trying to point out to you. I'm going to give you two analogies for this. Not the falling and poop analogies, but close. I want to give you the analogy of Animal Farm, where the puppies were taken away in the book Animal Farm by George Orwell. The puppies were taken away by the pigs, and when you heard about the puppies again, they were grown and they were vicious attack dogs. Okay, that's one. The other one is the story of the annexation of Austria by the Third Reich of Nazi Germany, where 98% of the people cheered as Hitler and his cronies annexed Austria into Germany. But the first law passed was, or one of the first laws passed was, every Sunday, children have to report to a central location, do physical activity, and they also have to be integrated and indoctrinated into Nazi propaganda, which included, tell on your parents if they say anything about the Fuhrer. So you take those two analogies and you apply it to putting police administrators into schools, and you'll see where I'm going with this. Okay? So here you have a situation. I just want to point this out. I'm not saying this is a conspiracy, but I want to point this out. This is what I mean by America at this point just stumbling along, falling over on its face. Here you have teachers. I've talked about this a million times on the show. You have teachers who are government employees teaching children facts, right? These are the facts. Facts according to the government and the corporations that write the school books. And then you have police coming into schools and coercing children into giving information. And being told that if you lie to us, you will be prosecuted. But we, the police, are allowed to lie to you to get this information from you. So you have, with your left hand, you have schools, government agents, telling children information. With your right hand, you have government agents, police, using coercive methods to extract information. So when you add those two, what you have is the government the government's hands around your children's throats. That's exactly what you... Now, is it a conspiracy? No, I don't think it is. I think it's just where we're at in this game at this point. You got a massive government that has to fund itself and has to take more and more control because we have this internet thing and social media in which information is just being plastered out there. What this truly is a government that's actually behind the people, behind them meaning, behind them in information, behind them in innovation. See, at some point, people, in the evolution of all this, the government's going to be a hindrance. I'm not going to say if it's there or not because that's dangerous. I'm just going to say at some point in all this evolution that we're at now, our government in the U.S. is going to be a hindrance. Not helpful, but a hindrance to you. And you decide where that's at in your life pertaining to your situation. This show focuses on the big picture. So, I want to give you one more article related to this very story. This is from masslive.com. Northampton police may use student statements in high school threat investigation. Okay, police, this is from January 11th. Police are hoping that a statement signed by Northampton high school students to take threats seriously will give them a new lead in their investigation into a December 19th incident that emptied the school shortly after the Newton shootings. Police say they will use the statements to aid in their investigation of the threat, perhaps matching the handwriting with that of one of the students. So here are police in this town, in the town of Northampton. They asked students to, sign this petition that you're going to take threats seriously. By the way, we're going to use your signatures to conduct an investigation. So they coerce those students into giving. So here you have children, students forced into a box, a building, by the government at gunpoint, because if you don't put your kids in school, you will go to jail at gunpoint if necessary. So the students are there. Teachers are teaching them information in corporate school books. I'm not attempting to trash on the school system this time. I'm actually trying to get to a point here. So here are government agents assigned to teaching students, and then government agents come in and coerce those students and trick those students into turning over their signature. And I guess they would just need a subpoena and parental involvement if they went after signatures through school records. So they had to do it in this manner. And so who are the students supposed to trust? Well, this is the point I'm trying to make to you. It doesn't matter anymore. Again, it doesn't really matter to this giant entity called government. It doesn't matter that you're onto them or not. They just need money. And they just want to control because they have to. Because at this point, you know so much. So think about that as they talk about this gun control. They just think about that, okay? And what I mean by that is, think about the methods and the reasoning and the scheming being used to convince people that gun control is necessary. What I want to know, how does coercing people for information, I've always wanted to know this, how does coercing people for information, lying, tricking students, and bypassing their parents' involvement, how is that justice? Where does the Justice Department stand on that? Well, I can tell you where the people in the Justice Department stand on that. You see, the people, the individuals, the masses, the citizens, they're expecting justice. But the individuals within the Justice Department, I don't think really care about that at this point. I mean, some of them probably do. Just like there's great cops out there that do a great job. But unfortunately, Northampton police don't have very many of those. At least not in their leadership. Because they'll trick students. This is unbelievable. This is exactly what I'm saying. Where eventually agencies become a hindrance to you. It hurts you. It doesn't help you. Even if its intentions are to help you. I'm sure the Northampton police thought they're helping the situation. But they're not. They're part of the problem. They are the problem in this situation. They are pushing students to lose their mind. That doesn't justify going on rampages, assuming that's actually what happened. It doesn't justify going on rampages, but you're pushing people to their mental capacity. I talk about that on the show all the time. And it's ultimately just to fund yourself. It's ultimately just so you can keep your job. Because if you can't justify your job, you'll lose it. And you'll be like all those other schmucks losing their jobs. This is the rationale. This isn't me talking. Okay, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to finish up New World Order News. And we're going to go on in Mark David's show because we got lots to cover. Don't go anywhere.